Well, what are the findings?
His neck was broken, sir. The 7th cervical vertebrae was snapped and the clavicle crushed.
What weapon do you suppose was used?
Well, that's just it, sir. The weapon must have been an arm. An arm strong enough to literally tear his head off.
What kind of an arm?
Certainly not one that belonged to a human.
Miss Barnsdale, we know you're upset about what happened.
Oh, it was terrible. I can't get over it.
But I'm sure you'd like to help us if you can.
Of course.
Then, if you don't mind, just a few more questions.
Yes, anything. Anything at all.
How long had you been Dean Foster's secretary?
Nearly 20 years. I began as a typist and advanced to the position of private secretary. The dean trusted me with everything.
We're aware of that. That's why we called you in again. Now, think about this carefully. Did Dean Foster have any enemies?
None that I know of. He was loved and respected by everybody. He was gentle, considerate of the rights of others, never lost his temper.
Yet on this late afternoon, when Dr. Decker was with him, you said you heard loud voices.
Thank you very much, Miss Barnsdale. That'll be all for now.
Won't you come in, Dr. Decker?
Thank you. Good morning, Miss Barnsdale. Poor woman. She seems shattered. You know how it is with spinsters. The dean and her devotion to his needs made up her entire life.
Dr. Decker, I hope you'll forgive us for taking up your time.
Of course. Anything I can possibly do to help, count on me.
We know you were with the dean for quite some time on the afternoon of the night he was killed.
That's right. We had a conference after my last class.
What about?
The subject matter might bore you. Let's say we had a scientific discussion.
We're not very advanced in botany, Doctor, but we'll try to understand. What about? I mean the conference.
Insectivorous plants.
I presume that means insect-eating plants.
Precisely. Like the Dionea muscipula, a fascinating plant. During the year I was lost in the jungle, I had an opportunity to study some remarkable and very unusual species that exist nowhere else.
And that is what you discussed with Dean Foster?
Yes.
Anything about the discussion that could have made him angry?
Oh, no.
Did you quarrel with him?
Indeed not. What could we possibly quarrel about? In the course of the discussion, there may have arisen a difference of opinion.
Over what?
To explain that, I should require a blackboard and a laboratory.
Well, at this time, we needn't go into such detail. But we'd like to have one thing clear. You insist there was nothing personal in the discussion you had with Dean Foster?
Of course not. I had the greatest regard and respect for the dean, and I believe he returned it. Gentlemen, I don't know how much experience you've had with scientists, but they rarely quarrel. They have a way of expunging the personal and the emotional in the interests of truth.
In other words, what took place between you and Dean Foster might be compared to a debate.
Exactly. If there was any clash, it was a clash of opinion, which we resolved before I left. Did you have any reason to believe otherwise?
No, we just wanted to clear the air.
After all, neither of us had anything to gain personally. If my theories and experiments hold up, it's the school that will receive the bulk of the credit.
You know, Dr. Decker, detection of crime is also a science. As one scientist to another, do you have any theory as to why or by whom Dean Foster was killed?
None whatever. I wish I could help you. But you see, I deal in life, not in death.
It's a student from the same school, sir.
Well, there's no doubt that the murders of Dean Foster, Professor Tagore, and this young lad are related.
And in no single case is there a logical motive. Not one of the three had any known enemies.
The only clue that's come through so far, according to the lab, are a few black hairs found on the victims. The lab seemed to think they could come from either a chimpanzee or an animal of that family.
There's really not much to work on. I've also looked into the escaped animal angle. Leads nowhere. The trail seems to end without a solid clue.
Lawson?
Yes, sir.
I want you and Redmond to question the entire school. Leave no one out. That goes for every employee, every pupil, every teacher. Right?
Right, sir.
It's on its way towards where? Right away. Fantastic. There's a huge monster gorilla that's constantly growing to outlandish proportions, loose in the streets. He's moving towards the embankment area.
Yes, sir?
Contact all available patrol cars, have them come into headquarters, and equip them with arms immediately. Get my car ready. I'll be right down to issue further orders.
Yes, sir.
Call Commissioner Garland at his home, notify him of the emergency. Then call the War Office, tell them what's happening, and request them rush some armed troops to the embankment area. I'll give them the position on radio telephone.
Right, sir. Get me Commissioner Garland's home, right away.
Never seen anything like it before.
I'm in already, Commissioner.
General, the only thing we can possibly do is to try and bring it down.
I agree with you. Give the order to fire at once. Yes, sir.
Men, take your position!